Hello, and welcome to another day of poetry. I hope you've all been enjoying some of the poems that you've been exploring, and you've all been doing a really good job looking at the poetic structure, picking out what structure you see, and then yesterday you dug even deeper and you said why you think that structure is important to the poem. So great job with that. Now, today, what we're going to be doing is we are going to shift our gears a little bit and we're going to look at the mood in poems. Now, the mood, if you see up here, the mood is the feeling created by the poet for the reader. Now, how the poet does that is they do that through their thoughtful word choice. They're thinking about what words they can put in the poem to help the reader get a certain feeling. And some words that can describe the mood of the poem might be romantic or realistic, optimistic or pessimistic, gloomy, excitement, shock, defeat, frustration. And those are only some examples that I wanted to give you so you can have an idea of what different moods of the poem might be. So, what we're going to do today is in your poetry packet, there is a poem called Casey at the Bat, which some of you may or may not know. It's a very popular poem, and you may or may not have read yet. And so I thought the best way to read this poem was by a man named James Earl Jones. Now, his voice is perfect for this poem because his voice really lets you feel the mood as you're going through it. Now, I'm going to play it. I'm not going to keep this up on the screen because the only thing that's up on the screen when he reads the poem is his face. So when he's reading the poem, I'm going to have it up here. Now, I am going to go back and forth and stop to point out different moods for you. So let's take a listen.
The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 4-2 with but one inning more to play. And when Cooney died at first and Barrows did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game.
Okay, so that was the first stanza. And I'm thinking his voice is just brilliant for this, I think, because he gives so much mood in there. So I'm feeling like the first mood is worried. And I'm just writing it on the side here. Because the Mudville Nine, there are 9 players that play in baseball. And the score was 2-4, 4-2, with but one more inning more to play, one inning left. First person on their team died at first. He was thrown out, and Barrows did the same. So now there's 2 outs, and people are feeling worried because they don't know if they're going to win. There's 2 outs left in the bottom of the ninth. Let's see what happens. We're on this stanza.
A straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to that hope that springs eternal in the human breast. They thought if only Casey could get a whack at that, we'd put up even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake, and the former was a Lulu, and the latter was a cake. So upon that stricken multitude, grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey's getting to the bat.
So I'm going to stop here. Now they're saying they wanted Casey up at bat, but Flynn was in front of him, and so was Jimmy. So there's 2 people in front of him. And they said Flynn was a Lulu and Jimmy was a cake, meaning they'll never get on base. So grim melancholy sat. There seemed but little chance of Casey getting to the bat. So I think the mood here, they're feeling hopeless or pessimistic because they're like, no way is Casey getting to the bat. And Casey is the one that they feel like could do the best for them. So let's see what happens when these 2 get up in front of Casey. Hear the music, putting that mood into play.
But Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted and the men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy's sated second and Flynn a hugging third.
Stopping here. Oh my. Flynn got a single, and after him, Jimmy Blake tore the cover off the ball, meaning he hit it so hard. Now we have Jimmy at second and Flynn at third. People are now starting to feel hopeful or optimistic. Because now who's up at bat? Our good old Casey. We're definitely winning now.
Then from 5,000 throats and more, there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dell, it knocked upon the mountain and recoiled upon the flat. For Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat.
Everyone in the stadium is cheering and yelling. You could hear it. It's rumbling through the valleys. There is so much excitement here. The mood, you're supposed to be so excited because here comes Casey. Now, the next few stanzas I'm going to let play and I'm not going to stop. So let's see what happens. Follow along here with me. Listen to the music in the background too. It helps with the mood.
There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt it was Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. Then while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance gleamed in Casey's eye. A sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped. Very fine style, said Casey. Still right one, the umpire said. From the benches black with people, there went up a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore. Kill him! Kill the umpire! Shouted someone in the stand. And it's likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand.
So Mr. Casey is feeling very confident up here. And the mood that we're supposed to feel at this moment, kill him, kill the umpire, I think is anger or frustration. Now Casey's raising his hand to everyone to quiet them down because he's just so confident up there, Mr. Casey.
With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey's vision showed. He stilled the rising tumult. It bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the spheroid flew, but Casey still ignored it. And the umpire said, "Strike two." "Fraud!" cried the maddened thousands, and the echo answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain, and they knew Casey wouldn't let that ball go by again. The sneer's gone from Casey's lips. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his bat on the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball. And now he lets it go. And now the air is shuddered by the force of Casey's blow.
So here, he threw the ball and the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. So I'm thinking he slammed the ball. They're going to win. Here's our last stanza coming up right here.
Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, somewhere hearts are light, and somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out.
So here we're thinking in this stanza right up top here that Casey hit the ball and they're going to win. And when we first started, this looked like all, everyone's laughing, but not in Mudville. Casey has struck out. So I feel like the mood here is defeat and very gloomy. So the mood shifts so much in this poem. It starts with them being worried and hopeless and pessimistic, and then they become hopeful and optimistic because Casey's coming up to the bat. They're excited. They're getting angry at the umpire for calling these strikes because Mighty Casey is so confident that he only wants to wait for what's perfect for him. And then in the end, we feel defeat and gloom. So what we're now going to do for our lesson today, or for our activity, you're going to come to this chart, and I'm going to give you an example. You are going to find two completely different poems in your poetry packet. You're going to identify a mood that you can find in the poem, and then you're going to pull a line, literally copying and pasting a line or lines that show you that mood. So for Casey at the bat, I'm deciding to go with this stanza. And I said I felt excitement here. So the mood is excitement. And what's a quote or description of the section that created this mood? I'm going right into here and I'm going to copy. This is when, then from 5,000 throats and more, there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dell, meaning it was so loud. It knocked upon the mountain and recoiled upon the flat. For Casey, Mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. They're so excited here because it's Mr. Casey who's coming to the bat, and that's how they know they are going to win. So I'm highlighting it, Control C, coming over here, Control V. And that's how I'm showing it. The poem was Casey at bat, the mood was excitement, and here's the quote that let me feel the excitement in there. So that's what you're going to do today. Pick two different poems from your packet, give the mood that you felt, and the stanza, or maybe it was a line that led you to feel that mood. And that's what you'll be doing today. So have fun, email me with any questions, and happy poetry.